Have you ever just picked out a notebook, not because you had some grand idea, but just because you needed a place for all your thoughts to land? Well, today we're going to dive into how that simple act is so much more than just self-expression. It's actually a powerful tool for what scientists call neurological repair, which is a fancy way of saying it can literally rewire your brain. But, before we get to the solution, let's talk about the problem. Let's start with a feeling I bet we all know a little too well. It's that state of having a mind that is just completely full, but somehow totally unfocused. Maybe you've spent the last hour just scrolling, clicking from one open tab to another on your computer, but not really absorbing a single thing. Or maybe there's a half-written message just sitting in your drafts, and the right words just feel like they're totally out of reach. And all the while, your mind is buzzing with like a dozen different thoughts, right? All of them half-formed, none of them stick in the landing. It's just a state of total internal chaos. Does any of that sound familiar? Yeah. If it does, you are definitely not alone. And what's so wild is that the solution might actually be a lot simpler than you think. So, if that's the problem, what's the fix? Well, it turns out that when you write down your feelings, something really incredible starts to happen inside your brain. And this isn't just about, feeling better. This is a deep biological process. Okay, so at the heart of all this is the brain basically learning how to talk to itself. Think of it like this. On one side, you've got the amygdala. It's like your brain's emotional smoke alarm, always on the lookout for danger. And on the other side, you have the prefrontal cortex. That's the brain's CEO, the part in charge of logic and making smart decisions. The act of writing actually gets these two parts to communicate and sync up, giving structure and reason to what just feels like a storm of emotional chaos. And there's a name for this process. It's called affect labeling. It's simply the act of putting your feelings into words. Now, this is really different from just venting, which, let's be honest, can sometimes just make the feeling even bigger. Affect labeling is about observing the feeling, not just getting swept away by it. And when you do that, you fire up the reasoning part of your brain, which then helps calm down that emotional smoke alarm. It lets you feel the emotion without completely drowning in it. And that is the very core of what we mean by neurological repair. And get this, it actually turns out that how you write really matters. A 2023 study found that the physical act of handwriting lights up way more areas of the brain than just typing. When your hand moves with your thoughts, it kind of forces your mind to slow down, just enough to actually start making sense of itself. Okay, so we've got the science down. How do we actually put this into practice? Let's look at the first of 3 really powerful techniques. This one's called expressive writing, and it is designed for processing those really heavy, sticky emotions that just won't let go. I love this quote from the psychologist James Pennebaker. He says, "The brain treats emotional suppression as unfinished work." Think about that. When we push our feelings down, our brain sees it as an open tab on a browser, a task that's still running. Expressive writing, well, that's the act of finally closing that tab. It completes the loop. And the best part? It doesn't require some huge time commitment. We're talking about just 15 to 20 minutes. That's it. It's totally doable, it's manageable, and believe me, it is incredibly effective. So here's how it works. First, just pick a topic that still has some weight to it for you. A disappointment, a loss, something that's still kind of hanging around. Then just start writing about it. And don't stop. And this is the most important part. Don't worry about grammar or spelling or making it sound perfect. This is just for you. Nobody else is going to see it. Just keep writing until you feel like there's nothing left to say. All right, our second technique is gratitude journaling. And hey, this is not about forcing yourself to be positive or putting on a happy face. Not at all. It's about consciously retraining where your attention decides to go. See, when you practice gratitude, you're actively retraining your brain to look for what's stable and good instead of just constantly scanning for threats. Neuroscientists have actually found that it activates key parts of the brain that regulate your mood and motivation. And over time, this literally tunes your nervous system toward a state of balance, helping you see beyond whatever struggle you're in without having to ignore it. But here's the real key. You have to be specific. Saying, "I'm grateful for my friend" is nice, but it's kind of vague, right? But saying, "I'm grateful for the way my friend just listened when I was quiet." Now that's different. That little detail anchors that positive memory deep in your brain, and it helps build new and much stronger emotional connections. And now for our final technique. This one is a really powerful method for building true resilience, especially when life feels confusing or you're just facing a really tough challenge. Reflective reframing is all about 3 simple steps. First,
Just write down the challenge. What happened? The facts? No judgment. Second, explore the meaning. What did this experience teach you? What did it reveal about you or about the situation? And finally, you defined an action. One small thing you can do differently next time. This process literally turns failures into useful data and strengthens your brain's ability to calmly reinterpret stress.
So, you've got these 3 techniques. How do you put them all together? Well, the most important point is that you don't need to do all 3 every single day. The best way to think about this is like a mental cross-training plan. You pick the right tool for the job. So here's a simple guide. You can grab expressive writing when your emotions just feel heavy and overwhelming. Use gratitude journaling when you're feeling kind of numb or disconnected from everything. And you can turn to reflective reframing when you're facing a challenge and life just feels plain confusing. Think of it like each practice strengthens a different mental muscle. You know, we often think of journaling as self-expression, but it's so much more. It's really an act of self-construction. Every single word you put on that page is a small, quiet act of neuroplasticity. That's your brain physically changing and adapting because of your thoughts. It's your mind learning to heal itself, one word at a time. So, the next time you sit down with a blank page, try a different approach. Don't ask yourself, what should I write? Instead, ask a much deeper question. What is my brain trying to tell me? And then, just listen.